She walked into the elite preschool with secondhand clothes and tired eyes, clutching her little son's hand tightly. Other moms wore designer handbags and whispered behind glossy lips, their eyes scanning her from head to toe. To them, she didn't belong. She was just a simple mother. No fancy car, no expensive jewelry, no stylish sunglasses perched on her head. Just a plain woman with a warm smile, trying to give her child the best life possible. But today was different. It was her son's first day. And while she was nervous, she was also proud. Proud of how far she'd come, how hard she worked. But that didn't stop the snickering in the corner. One of the rich moms leaned over to another, her voice just loud enough to carry. "Looks like someone took a wrong turn from the grocery store." Laughter followed. Cruel, sharp, and intentional. The simple mother heard every word. She smiled politely, pretending it didn't sting as she helped her son hang his backpack. Another mom approached her with a fake smile and a drippingly sweet tone. "Oh, we don't usually see. You're kind here. Is everything okay? So simple?" Mother nodded gently, not taking the bait. She had no need to explain herself, but the whispers kept growing. She must be the nanny. Or maybe she just sneaked in. Where's the real parent? And just as the tension reached its peak, the sound of polished shoes echoed through the school hallway. Heads turned. A man in an elegant, tailored suit, exuding quiet power and calm confidence, stepped inside. Every eye in the room locked on him, the billionaire every socialite in town gossiped about. He didn't say a word, just walked straight toward the simple woman and softly took her hand. Silence, every mocking smile faded. Every whisper died. But what happened next? No one in that room could have seen coming. The man's presence changed the energy in the room instantly. Where moments ago there had been judgment and laughter, now there was silence, the kind that made people shift uncomfortably. The billionaire, known for his low profile, despite his massive success, wasn't someone you'd expect at a preschool. And certainly not someone these rich moms expected to see holding the hand of the woman they had just mocked. He leaned down, kissed her forehead gently, then looked at his son and smiled. "Ready for your big day, champ?" he said warmly, his voice full of pride. The little boy beamed. The mother just nodded, her eyes calm. But something in them flickered. Not revenge, not pride, but quiet strength. The other moms exchanged wide-eyed glances. Whispers started again, but this time in hushed, confused tones. "Wait, is that her husband? He's that billionaire. The tech guy. I thought he was married to some model." No one really knew much about him, only rumors, magazine headlines, and guesses. He was rarely seen at social events, almost never in public with family. And here he was, walking into a school hand in hand with a woman most of them had just dismissed as poor and out of place. Some of the moms tried to recover, walking over with fake smiles, asking meaningless questions. But the man didn't give them attention. His focus stayed on his wife and child. Still, the tension in the room hadn't gone away. It had only shifted. Now the question wasn't who she was, but how she had become the woman beside him. No one knew her story. Not yet. And just as one of the moms stepped forward to ask her something, anything, the school's director appeared, looking flustered. "Mr. and Mrs. Khan, we weren't expecting you this morning." She began nervously, but before anyone could ask more, black car pulled up outside, and what stepped out next made everyone freeze. A tall woman stepped out of the black car, dressed in a sleek designer suit and dark sunglasses. She carried herself like someone used to being in control, poised, confident, and clearly important. A few of the moms gasped softly, recognizing her immediately. She wasn't just anyone. She was the CEO of one of the largest luxury fashion houses in the country, a name often seen in magazines. sitting front row at fashion weeks, surrounded by celebrities and influencers. But what was she doing here? She walked straight past the cluster of moms, her heels clicking sharply against the pavement. Without saying a word, she nodded to the billionaire, then glanced at his wife, the simple woman they had just mocked. There was a pause, a strange tension between the two. Women, not cold, but not exactly warm either. It was clear they knew each other, but how? The rich moms watched, frozen in place, as the CEO handed the mother a sleek envelope. The simple woman opened it slowly, then looked up, her expression unreadable, not surprised, not overwhelmed, just calm, as if she had been expecting it. The billionaire placed a gentle hand on his wife's back and whispered something only she could hear. She nodded once, then carefully slipped the envelope into her bag without a word. At that moment, the roles in the room seemed to shift completely. The so-called simple mother was no longer invisible, no longer someone to laugh at or ignore. She stood in the middle of the room like a puzzle no one could figure out, and just as the school bell rang, signaling the start of the day, one of the moms couldn't hold it in any longer. She stepped forward and asked, "Who? Who are you?" "Really?" The woman smiled, kind but distant. Then she simply said, "That's a long story." The hallway buzzed with quiet tension. The mothers who had once stood tall with pride now hovered in awkward silence, waiting, hoping for more answers. But the woman didn't offer any. She turned to her son, gently adjusted his backpack, and walked him into the classroom with a soft goodbye. Her husband followed a step behind, smiling proudly as he ruffled the boy's hair. But the moment they returned to the hallway, the questions began. One of the moms, her voice laced with forced charm, tried again. "We just didn't realize. Who you were, you're always so low-key?" The woman looked at her and replied calmly, "You were never really looking." Behind the polite smiles, discomfort flickered in their eyes. These were women used to judging by appearances, by handbags, shoes, car models, and skin-deep impressions. But today, none of those rules made sense. The CEO hadn't left yet. She stood quietly in the corner, observing everything like she was studying people in a boardroom. Her eyes didn't leave the woman. There was something unfinished between them, something deeper than just a business deal or polite favor. And then one of the most outspoken moms, the one who had mocked the woman first, couldn't help herself. "Look," she said, with a tight laugh, "I think everyone's just shocked. You never mentioned your husband was that billionaire, or that you're connected to her." The woman's expression stayed calm, but there was a subtle shift. In her eyes, something more serious now, a glimpse of the fire underneath her quiet demeanor. The billionaire stepped forward slightly, protective without being obvious. Then came the voice that cut through the air like a knife. The CEO finally spoke, her tone cool but firm. If you knew her story, you wouldn't be so surprised, or so quick to judge. The hallway fell silent again. Even the school staff stood still, listening. The mother looked down for a moment, as if debating something. Then she raised her head and met their eyes, and just as she opened her mouth to speak, her phone buzzed. One message, one line, and everything was about to change. She glanced at the screen. One message, just 6 words. "He's coming. Don't trust anyone yet." Her fingers tightened slightly around the phone, the only sign that something had shifted. Her face didn't change. Not a flicker of panic, but her husband caught the subtle cue. He leaned in, whispering low, "Everything all right?" She nodded once, but her eyes were scanning the hallway now, reading the room like a map with hidden traps. The CEO saw it too. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Is it him?" The woman gave the faintest nod. The CEO's calm expression wavered for the first time. Meanwhile, The rich moms watched with growing confusion. Who's him? What are they talking about? The tension was no longer just uncomfortable. It was electric. Something big was coming, and they could feel it, even if they didn't understand it. Then, without warning, the school security guard stepped inside, looking flustered. "Ma'am," he said, addressing the billionaire's wife directly, "there's a man outside asking for you. Says it's urgent." Refused to give his name, but he knew your maiden name. The color drained from her face, just for a second. She whispered to the CEO, "It's too soon. He wasn't supposed to know I was here." The CEO responded under her breath, "You think he found out about the deal?" But the woman didn't answer. She turned to her husband, now serious. "Take our son. Stay inside with him." The billionaire didn't question her. He took a deep breath, nodded, and disappeared down the hallway toward the classroom. Their child unaware of the storm quietly forming just outside. The woman walked toward the school entrance, each step slow, steady. The polished floor seemed longer now, as if time was stretching itself. Behind her, the rich moms stood frozen, sensing they had stumbled into something far bigger than social gossip or schoolyard whispers. Then the doors opened, and standing outside was the last person she ever wanted to see. There he was standing, calmly outside the school gates, dressed in an expensive suit, wearing the same cold smile she remembered all too well. The man from her past, her ex-fiancé. The one who had once tried to control every piece of her life, until she walked away without looking back. And now, somehow, he had found her. She stepped forward, the breeze brushing her hair across her face, but her eyes stay.